Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a couple things to my F10 535i, and mainly the biggest thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing this new 12.3 inch display that I got from 4x4shop.ca. It's the iNav 12.3 inch screen, so that should hopefully give me wireless Apple Carplay and wireless Android Auto in the car. Second thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing the cracked vent trim that I have in the car. So you can see if I go inside right now, I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. So here's my old 10.25 inch screen. This is the one that comes with the car. There's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It does have Bluetooth and it does have phone connection. But the thing is, when I'm playing my music, it doesn't show the song title or the album art. And when I'm using the navigation, it's not Google Maps, which I like to use. The other thing that we're going to be doing, because I'm going to be removing this entire trim piece, I'm also going to be replacing the air vent, which is what was in that smaller box. So I have this entire plastic piece right here inside the second box. And then the last thing that I'm going to be doing very quick, it should only take a couple of minutes, but I'm going to be replacing the iDrive controller here. And I'm just going to be adding in a bigger iDrive controller. So here you guys can see what that looks like. It's just the newer style. It pretty much just goes right over it, just replaces the housing for the original one. So let's go ahead and unbox this screen first. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to where I got this screen from. It is from 4x4shop.ca. And the reason why I bought this one over the other ones, even though it's a little bit pricey, I've heard stories that sometimes these come with fake Qualcomm chips, so I wanted to make sure that mine was actually a quality screen with a quality chip, so it's not freezing up on me and everything. So you can see this is the 12.3 inch screen. Got some connections in the back there, as well as the wiring, which we're going to have to take care of. So the first order of business is just going to be to disconnect the battery in the 5 Series. So I'm going to go ahead and open the trunk and get with disconnecting that. And then we're going to be removing the trim piece there, and we'll get to working on swapping this old screen out for the new screen. Alright, now that the battery is disconnected, we're going to go ahead and try to remove this entire piece right here of gloss wood. So I think the easiest way is just going to be to open up the glove box and then start prying right here underneath it. So I think I'm going to start all the way over from the right side. I have my plastic pry tools. So we're going to go in, just pull it out, not all the way, just because there's a connection that we have to undo right here, and then also right here behind the start-stop engine button. So yeah, let's go ahead and just start pulling up right here. All right, so that whole thing was super easy. I basically just started right here. I opened the door, started right on the right side, and then just slowly started pulling the whole thing up. And you can see the entire thing right here is totally loose. I didn't crack it at all or anything. So basically now I'm going to have to set down the camera and just go ahead and disconnect that start-stop button over there. And then there's one more connection right here in the center, which controls these emergency flashers and door locks. So I'm going to go ahead and set the phone down, disconnect those, and then get this entire piece right here out of the way. All right, so there's actually 3 things to disconnect, because there's 2 connectors right here that go for the center, and then just one super easy quick disconnector right here for the start-stop button. So this entire piece is now out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and take this inside the garage so that we can work on this later and actually swap out the air vents. But the first thing that we're going to do is actually work on the screen, because I'm just so excited to get the new screen in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside, and then we'll keep working on this. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and remove the old screen right here. So there's 2 little T20 screws, one right here on the left side, one right here on the right side, which we're going to go ahead and remove. So I have my screwdriver right here with a T20 bit, and let's go ahead and remove this. Alright, so I loosened up both of those screws, so it's one right here and one right over here. Loosened up those 2, and then the monitor came loose. So I just went ahead and tilted it down right now so I can see where I have to actually disconnect. Looks like it's just one connection, this purple one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that and then pull the old 10.25 screen out. Alright, so I pulled out the old screen, and it was actually 2 connectors, not 1. So if I look at the back of the screen, it's going to be this purple one right here, or the pink purple one, and then just right underneath it, there's kind of like this long rectangle. So there's 2 little connections. This first black one right here, you just kind of pinch these 2 sides together and it pulls right out. And then this one right here, it's just a little connector on one side. So just push this down, pull out, and it comes out. So far, all the disconnections have been really easy, which knowing my luck, you know, I always get stuck on these connectors and everything. So far, everything's just pulling out very easily. Next step for us is going to be to remove these buttons right over here. So again, there's 2 more T20 screws on each side, and this entire thing should pull out. Alright, so after disconnecting the 2 T20 screws that were right here, I basically just pushed this entire panel off, which holds all the radio controls and the air conditioning controls. I didn't take it out all the way just yet, just because there's just two. These little blue and black connections right here that I'm just going to disconnect. Get this thing out of the way. And then one of the things that I am going to want to do when I have this out is just to clean this up, because some of these buttons, especially this bottom row, they can get a little bit sticky. Alright, so I went ahead and disconnected the blue and the black connector that we had for this entire piece right here, and then now we're pretty much just going to go ahead and attack the brain of this whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and remove these ones right here. I think they're still T20s, if not they might be smaller. But basically, yeah, we're going to go ahead and remove this thing, slide it out, and then we should be able to remove the power connector from the back of this box. Alright, so 4 screws is what it took. They're all T20s, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you can see this entire box is beginning to slide out. Alright, 2 seconds later, I have the box slid out, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and disconnect everything that's back here. There is the main power connector, which is the one at the very bottom there. Alright, so it looks like I was wrong. There is actually gonna be no new box. We're gonna be keeping this old box. The only thing that we're gonna be doing is using this wiring harness right here to transfer everything over so that it's compatible with the new screen. So the only thing from the box that we have to disconnect is going to be this power cable. And then once you remove the power cable, inside one of these 2 slots right here, you're basically going to want to disconnect this 2-pin thing right here. This is called the optical something. It's called the fiber optic cable. So we're basically going to remove the fiber optic cable right here from the main power plug. And then we're pretty much just going to start reconnecting everything using this new harness. Alright, so it's slowly coming together. I have the screen kind of in place. I haven't secured it down yet though with the screws. What I think I'm going to do is probably just kind of put everything together to make sure that I wired it correctly. Just because I did very minimal wiring. I only pretty much just did the power harness and the fiber optical cable. So all of these extras right here, I didn't do anything about them just because I don't want to use like an external reverse camera or a 4G antenna or anything like that. So all these extra stuff, I didn't really do much with it. I kind of just want to put everything together just to make sure that it works, and I didn't actually forget any one of the like core components of it. So pretty much just gonna slide this, in, turn this on, reconnect the battery, then turn this on, and then we'll kind of go from there, see how it works, see if there's any adjustments that we need to make. But so far, it comes with like this little back plate right here, so it looks, it looks OEM. If you've ever sitting in like a G30 5 Series, one of these like current generation ones, it's kind of the same style that they have going on. So it's kind of like a floating screen. Doesn't really look too out of place. I imagine once we put everything together, it's going to look really good. So, all right, so I'm back here in the garage. I have the wood piece right here, which we removed earlier in the day. I'm basically just going to go and turn this upside down, go to where the air vent is, and I'm just going to remove all of the T20s that we have around this thing. So there's maybe like 8, 9, or 10 of these things here. So I got my screwdriver. We're just going to go ahead and remove them and separate the vent from the plastic trim piece. All right, so 9 T20 screws later, we got the vent piece right here separated from the wood trim. And then this right here is my new piece right here. So you can see where my old one cracked. This new one right here feels a little bit more durable. So we're going to go ahead and swap it in. I think I need to separate this little faceplate from it because I only have a little plate right here. So I'm going to go ahead and probably pull up on these tabs right here and separate this plate from the actual vent tubes. And then the last thing I have to do is just transfer over the wiring harness and these 2 buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and just get to transferring everything over. Alright, so it's the next day, and yesterday where I left off, I was starting to troubleshoot the screen. So I had everything put together, and I was just basically trying to figure out all the problems. So this is basically what it all looks like put together. I have the trim piece back in, everything's all back together. You guys can see that 12.3 inch screen. It looks super good. I've had it on for a day now, so I'm starting to get a little bit used to it, and also just getting used to the menus and everything. But I'm going to go over the troubles that I've had with the screen and what I did to fix it. So let's go ahead and get this turned on. Alright, so when I'm turning it on, it says HD 1920 by 720. Ideally, I want to change this to maybe show the BMW logo, so that's probably going to be in some menu that I have to find. Then it goes and says Android, and then it's going to go ahead and say phone is starting because it's an Android unit. And so probably the software just thinks that it's a phone. So it takes a little bit to get on, but it's a big screen. And all right, and so this is the screen right here. So I'm basically just going to go ahead and go over all the issues that I had. So the first thing I did when I first started the screen was I noticed when I went back to the old car system, so the original CIC menu, it was kind of all in the wrong resolution. So basically what I had to do at that point was going to be to go back to the menu, which is just by holding down the menu button right here. I basically had to go over to settings. So let me go back here to settings, and then I had to go down to factory, put in the passcode, which you're gonna have to email the manufacturer to get, because I think it's different for every unit. But once you put in your unit's passcode, you go into vehicle, or I think it's actually car display, and then basically you can choose from these different displays. So for me, even though I have a CIC screen, the NBT 8.8 10.25 is the one that actually ended up making the car system look the way that it should. So that was the first issue that I had. It was the totally wrong resolution. The second issue that I had was that there was going to be no audio coming from any of the speakers. So no matter what I played, whether it was through this menu right here, whether it was through Android Auto, nothing was coming out from the speakers. So I emailed the company. Turns out what I had to do was actually wire the aux from the back of the silver box. So I routed it right here through the glove box and then across over here into the center. So because mine is a CIC 2011 to 2013, unfortunately it cannot be totally wireless. It has to be plugged into the aux cable right here in the glove, in the center console area. So that was the second issue. Figured that out, had to take everything apart again, plug in that aux cable, run that cable through the glove box, and then kind of reconnect everything again. And then the third and final issue that I kept having was the reverse camera just wouldn't come on. So if I would go ahead and press my park button right here and then turn on the reverse camera, you can see right now it's working, but before it would just be a black screen, right? So my parking sensors would work, black screen, and then right here on my dash it would say like rear camera malfunction. Let me go ahead and turn that off. Basically, I emailed the company again. I said, hey, what's going on? I explained to them my issue, and they said, okay, it's the fiber optic cable. You probably just didn't connect it in correctly, or it's in the wrong spot. So I took apart the system again, went to the back to that big power cable, and turns out there's like two little areas right there where you can plug in the fiber optic cable. They look identical, but I plugged it into the wrong one. So I went ahead and just took it out, plugged it into the right one, and now here we are, just put everything back together. And yeah, it's all working. So what I am going to do is also just show you guys some of the features of the Android system. So why you would get this 12.3 inch display over just keeping your 10.25. So not only does it look really good, and it really fits into the dash well. So if you can see, if I take the camera right here behind the system, it comes with like this little back plate right here. So it doesn't stand out at all. It doesn't like show anything behind the screen. It really looks like it fits in. So the old one really has like this plastic screen to it, which really scratches up easily. If you guys have ever tried to clean the screen on your F10, you probably know what I'm talking about. But my old screen had some scratches from the previous owner trying to clean it up with a rag or something. So it's a much cleaner and bigger display, but also you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's totally wireless. So I'm filming right now with my Android phone, and I use an Android phone on the daily basis to go ahead and connect to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. What I'm going to do is go down to apps and then go to Z-Link 5 right here. And then this is going to connect to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's not going to connect right now because I'm filming, but I'll probably go ahead and go inside and grab my other phone and connect it over so that I can at least show you guys what that looks like. But you can do wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto with these systems. You can also turn that on by hitting navigation or the music. So I have this set up so that if I hit navigation or music, it's also going to automatically default to Android Auto. And then you can go ahead and click car info right here to go back to the original car display. And then we do also have dashboard. So for me, it says Eco Pro. My car doesn't have any drive modes, maybe because it's a manual transmission, but I don't have, Eco Pro, normal, Sport Plus, like, everybody else does. So mine just defaults to Eco Pro. I'm not sure how to change this just yet, but I do kind of like the blue theme for Eco Pro. But this right here is just going to show you your speedometer and your tachometer if you don't want to see it right here in the center, which I think is pretty cool. But most of the time I'm just going to be using Android Auto just because for pretty much ever since I've had this car, I've just really wanted to have Google Maps on it and Spotify on it, because one of my big complaints with the CIC screen, even though it was 10.25 inches and it was a really nice screen, one of my big complaints about it was that I couldn't see what song I was listening to or the album art, which is something that I like to see when I'm driving around. And also just having Spotify as an app on Android Auto just makes it so much easier to pick songs as well. When I go to the dashboard, it also shows a couple of other cool things. So you can see I have 5 gallons left. You can see the temperature outside. My parking brake is up. So it's actually a really cool thing. But like I said, most of the time I'm going to be in Android Auto. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my other phone and I will show you guys how that works. Speaking of phones, this is a brand new phone that I just got. So this is my first video filming with my S22 Ultra. So hopefully the videos should be a little bit sharper now than they were before. One of the lenses broke in my old phone. So yeah, some of the past videos were not too sharp, but hopefully from now, all the videos should be looking good. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and connect to my S20 Ultra. All right, it says it's connected. Let's just go ahead and go to Bluetooth and double check that. All right, so now that we have the Z-Link app open on the big screen, we're gonna go over here to my old phone, the S20 Ultra, and then we're gonna go ahead and connect to this one right here, Car Kit, and we're gonna go ahead and hit pair on that. And this right here in the settings is just gonna be a first time thing. And so here, let me just go ahead and do 0000. After it's set up for the first time, it should just connect automatically when you go into the car. So it's gonna say, welcome to Android Auto. We're gonna go ahead and hit continue here. And remember, we can use the iDrive wheel, which I still have the new one right over here. We're gonna go ahead and replace that in a second. But there we go, we have the Android Auto system. So we can go ahead and hit the home button right here. I have Google Maps right here. So let's probably put that away so you guys don't see my location, but we also have Spotify as well, which I can tap right here. I'm probably gonna pause this as well so it doesn't start playing. But yeah, we have Google Maps, Spotify. It's just a whole better system to see when you're driving around versus just seeing like that stock 2011 BMW system. Everybody wants to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in their cars now, so it's so nice to have it, especially on a bigger and brighter screen with this. So I'm super happy with the way that this turned out. And then if you want to leave Apple CarPlay, we can either touchscreen right here on the exit, we can also just use the wheel to go over here to exit, or we can just hit menu right here and that'll take us back over here. And then if we want to go back to the main car system, just go ahead and hit car right here. So yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy to use. Super happy with the way that this ended out. We also went ahead and fixed the vent right here. So that's that. The little fins inside the vent though, they kind of broke apart as I was doing this whole thing. So that's something that I'll probably fix in the future as well. And the last thing that we're gonna do in this video is probably just gonna be to upgrade this knob right here to the bigger one. So basically what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and use a little pin tool to bring this centerpiece up, and then we're going to remove the wall and then just pretty much slap this new one on. Should take no more than 2 minutes. I'll leave a link in the description to the new controller as well. So let's do this last thing here. All right, so the first step is just going to be to use some sort of hook or some sort of little tool to get right here underneath this little controller and then just pry up this little centerpiece right here. So once you've got that out, we can set it aside. So once we've got this little top piece right here with the arrows removed, the next thing that we're gonna do is remove the little silver ring that goes around right here, which is now at the top. So there's gonna be these little black tabs right here by the green circuit board. We're basically just gonna wanna use our hook tool again to just pull on these black tabs. And then that should release this little silver ring right here. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, and once that silver piece right here is out, we can go ahead and grab our new controller right here. Let's separate this. So we're gonna go ahead and put the bottom portion in first, and that should just slide in. Let's push that in there. There we go. All right, and just like that, the new piece just slaps right on where the old one was. So you can see we have our new iDrive controller. Looks a lot newer, just a lot bigger than the old one. It just looks a little bit more like the new style. And so each direction still works. You still have, lots of clearance for your buttons. And yeah, that's that. It's just, bigger and a little bit better than the old one. If you just look at the size comparison, this right here is the old arrows on the old one, and that's just compared to the new one right there. And so it just brings the car a little bit more to life, just like this big old screen right here that we have. So that's probably going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions about the screen, just leave them in the comments below, because I definitely did have a lot of questions about how the screen worked and everything before I went ahead and bought one. So I was commenting on a lot of people's YouTube videos about these 12.3 and 10.25 inch displays. But I decided to just bite the bullet and do it because, you know, honestly, anything was better than not having the, you know, Sans and Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all that stuff. So I'm super happy with doing the big screen upgrade. So yeah, I'll go ahead and leave a link to the description for all three of the things that we did today: the screen, the vent trim, and also this bigger iDrive controller. So if you guys want to pick up anything, we are probably going to use affiliate links for Amazon. So if there's something that you guys like, it would help me out a lot if you guys were to click that link. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.